Hi, I'm Tom Hendrickson from the DevOps Online Summit. Today, I'm joined by Niladri Choudhuri, the CEO of Zalantro and the author of Adapting to Industry Affinity. So, Niladri, introduce yourself to the people here at the the DevOps Online Summit.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I know both the events are big enough for you, and it's synonymous. So thanks for having me here in this session. I'm Niladri Choudhuri, CEO of Zalantro and the chief organizer for the DevOps India Summit. And now I'm an author, international author, for this particular book called Adapting to Industry Infinity, the New Ways of Working for IT Service Providers. And thanks for organizing this session for your DevOps Online Summit participants.
Yeah. It's always good. Like you mentioned, you have your event, the DevOps India Summit, I think is such a great event. You guys have a lot of good stuff. I know you just finished that up a little while ago, and you really, kicked off a little bit talking about this book at the event. But I think, just to kind of start us off, why did you write this? Because I think this is a good book. It's very timely. I've read it, but I wanted to see what got you to do it? Because as you mentioned pre-call, you spent 4 months working on this. So this is a lot of your sweat and tears in here, Niladri.
Right. So first of all, I would quote from the book itself. There are some quotes in the beginning. So one of the quotes is of Peter Drucker, and he says that the enterprise that does not innovate ages and declines, and in a period of rapid change such as present, the decline will be fast. And the second one by Pierre Natum, digital is the main reason just over half of the companies on Fortune 500 have disappeared since the year 2000. I mean, these two quotes shows us that the pace at which changes are happening. And if we look at it, these changes are what we have to adapt to. And we have to change our way of working to do that. I mean, if you look at it, and I've given the example in the book, that we used to buy songs. We used to buy CDs, which was a set of songs. But today, if you ask anybody, most probably they don't even know whether there is a CD player in their house anymore. I still have one. But people now hears mostly through all these streaming situations. And when they are not providing a song. We are not buying a song from a Ghana.com in India or a Spotify for that matter. We are buying an experience, a musical experience, and an entertainment experience. As I say that if you look at Uber is not providing us a taxi service. Then we will be much happier with just the cab, which is good and which comes. But we are looking at the entire travel experience. And that's what I'm calling it the servitized product. It's a service. Every product is also servitized. It's no longer just a product. Now, if you look at the way that customers are looking for different things, it is changing. So as Carlota Perez has mentioned that we are in the middle of an industrial revolution. It's a time of great opportunities and great perils, both. So those who can adapt to these changes are the ones who will make it as an opportunity. Now, socioeconomic needs gives rise to change in technology, and change in technology gives rise to change in socioeconomic needs. We never had the capabilities like that of the cloud, like that of the microservices, that of the serverless architecture, and various other things that we are able to do today. Now that that is possible, and more with the AI, IoT, ML, and data science, much more changes will happen. Now, are we ready? How are we getting ready? Now, compared to this, there is one more factor which came into my mind. I mean, we have seen all these different frameworks. We have seen the different sessions by different product vendors, different experts across the practitioners across the globe. But my question is, show me one company which does the entire IT on its own and doesn't have a system integrator or a service provider. Most probably there is none.
Yeah.
But we don't see, I have not seen much focus from the system integrators point of view. So when I go and speak to them, I'll give you an example. I'm taking a session with one of the system integrators from India. It's a SRE session. Client has asked them that they have to provide SREs and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Now the question is, if you have a situation where there is a system integrator X who is providing level 1, level 2 support, a system integrator Y providing a level 3, level 4 support. I have a system integrator P who is providing the programming, the software support, system integrator Q providing hardware support. How are you going, who is going to provide that SRE, and how are you making sure that the SRE works in that entire value stream? That is not there. So there's a lot of challenge from the system integrators point of view. So this book primarily was created to help the system integrators to understand that what change they have to look at. Because today, an organization is not looking at IT as a cost center anymore. It is not saving off cost. It is how the IT can help in generating more business.
Yeah. That's been a big shift, hasn't it?
Yes. And that's where the system integrators also have to change themselves to satisfy that and take responsibility of outcome. Because now you cannot clap with one hand. So you have to make the customers also to realize and understand and make those changes from their side to expect the right thing from their system integrators. And that's what we are talking about in this book. And we have framed a 10-pillar metamorphosis approach. And each of the pillar is each of the chapter in this book.
Yeah. Now you said, as you mentioned there, the book is primarily for system integrators, but I think too, it's valuable too for really people in the technology space to understand. As you mentioned, there's a lot of change going on, and kind of along the lines of your Drucker quote, it doesn't show any signs of letting up, does it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has to realize what is the outcome that the customer is looking at. Because today there is a lot of competition. It took 111 years for Walgreens to get GE out of that Dow Jones list, the top list, right? Today, the average age is 20 years in any of those kind of lists, and it is falling. And organizations originally was the manufacturing big organizations. Today, the organizations that are coming up is not a big organization. These are more IT organizations or IT enabled organizations. I mean, even if you look at, as mentioned in the book, Alaska Air says, we are a tech company with wings. So first it's a tech company and then it is talking about the rest. And we cannot do any business today without IT. It's as good as your legal, your finance, your HR, as important to the organization. So we have to start, IT has to start accepting that and be part of the organization and cannot treat themselves and think themselves to be somebody who is different from that. So that is a big change. And the other factor that we have to look at is, as we saw, that when we are looking at a servitized product, we are trying to satisfy or delight each customer. Now, there are multiple customers, I would say multiple customer personas who needs things differently. If I am using, as a corporate user, a banking system, my needs, my wishes, my understanding is different. My way of working with that system is different. The entire journey is different compared to somebody who is using it as a salary account or somebody using it as a investment kind of a account or somebody using it as a retired person as a livelihood, means of livelihood. So how can we have a one size fits all solution to everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where the change requires to come.
Mm-hmm. So Niladri, you kind of lead up to this, and I think this is something I think that's tough for some of the technology people. As you mentioned, like originally the technology teams were an expense and looked at that way, and now it's changed. But now still, as you mentioned, like companies like Alaskan Air, our tech company with wings, how do we get, because there's still companies out there where, maybe they're bringing that IT to the table, but how do they get the IT people to understand we need to be where that innovation starts, don't we?
Yes. So there is a lot of need for upskilling on the domain side.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the current scenario, if we look at a team-based scenario where we are talking about the responsibility of the outcome, we are talking about the entire value stream.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at ITIL has always been talking about creation of value, and ITIL 4 talks about co-creation of value.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to co-create that value. And value is not created when I'm writing a code or when I'm maintaining a server or a database. When all of these are used by the customer is when the value creation happens.
Yeah.
That is something which has to be explained to the people. And I think it's not the practitioners, but from the senior management is what it has to be taught, has to be explained that that is what they need to. They have to take that outcome as their responsibility, as Dr. McCuston has mentioned in project to product approach also.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is same. We have to take that responsibility, not what we are doing individually.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of education, experimentation, learning, which has to happen. And that has to be facilitated.
You also talk in the book, you have a chapter on human capital. So I think that's an important aspect too that you brought in there. Talk to us a little bit why you included that.
So we have always seen in all PPTs that we have seen from various people, people talks about people, process, technology.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't given the right importance to people. If you look at it, people as such has been looked at as human resource. But people are not resource. We cannot treat them like any other resource. We have to treat them, value them differently. Mm-hmm. A very simple example, a level 1 support. Why do you need a human being to give a level 1 support? Your broadband is down, you call the customer service, the person picks up and the person asks you, few questions, and after all these, the person will again ask you to take the power off, power on, do something or the other, and after that gives you a ticket. Now for that, why do you need a human being? The reason is we do not give the right importance to them. If we had given the importance, we would have accepted that a person is much more capable. So we should not waste that capability doing that mundane day-to-day repetitive job. Mm-hmm. That which the machines can do.
Yeah.
They should be upskilled, cross-skilled to do something which machines cannot do. And that's where it comes. So we are talking about, we have to change our mindset from human resource to human capital. Because without people, nothing will work. Whatever technology, whatever tools you talk about, mm-hmm. whatever, even the tools that we create are created by humans. Yeah. So we have to give that due importance. And if you see all the different frameworks that we have seen across, one of the major reasons that we have seen why things are not working is because of the lack of trust. As Norm Kurth has said various in his statement, that we should be accepting that the team is doing to the best of their ability, to the best of their knowledge, to the best of the current situation in which they are, and accept that and then see how to improve. If we are doing that, it's a big thing. And all this is about trust, nothing else. If we had the trust, first, because we do not trust the people, we do not even trust the millions of dollars that we are spending on the tools. We don't see what is happening in the tools. We go to the person. We have endless meetings. When I talk to people on senior management, when I ask them that on an average, how much of time do you spend on meeting every day? And I get anything between 60 to 80%. I ask them, when do you work? And that's the challenge. And we have to build that trust. We have to treat people in the right way. And that's why human capital is very, very important. And if we really have to implement any of these, even agile, if we are looking at DevOps, SRE, everything is built on trust. If we don't have the trust, we will just use those jargons, those syntaxes, and that's all that we can do.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Niladri, really, appreciate you sharing all this. Any closing thoughts?
I think people needs to start realizing that we have to deliver the outcome. We have to make our customers happy. We have to make our customers happy on what we are doing. Otherwise, today the amount of startups that are coming, which are nimble, which are able to deliver what the customer wants, the flexibility that they have, the nimbleness that they have, they are going to either we are able to do that or we lose to them. So we have to be a learning organization. We have to learn new ways, experiment and do things, not carry on doing the same thing that we are doing, because that will give us the same result, not something different.
Thank you so much, Niladri. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for the time and for this interview. Hope this will help others who will be listening in the DevOps Online Summit. And all the best to you for the summit, as well as hope to see all of you there in the DevOps Online Summit 2022.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On behalf of Niladri Choudhuri, I am Tom Henriksen for the DevOps Online Summit.